Finally, these Asians are finally speaking up. They are actually telling us straight to our face that they don't like us black people. They don't like the skin of our, the color of our skin. They just do not like us. And in these clips, this is going to expose the reality of what is happening in 2025. I've seen and I've made videos like this, but this one really hurts me because they actually say it, but make as if they are not saying it. They tell you they don't like you, but they frame it in a different context, right? They say it, then they tell you that, oh, no, this, I just don't think I'll be able to say this until you watch these videos yourself. Let's get into it.
The Asian community is literally so anti-black, and it literally fucking pisses me off. Like, we are literally so uneducated, uninformed, just misinformed, everything about the black community, and it pisses me off. And like, it just boggles my mind how a lot of Asians see black people as beneath them. I shit you not, I literally saw someone on my story and I literally was so gagged. Like, I was like, are you serious right now? And I sent him a message, ask him if he's being serious about this. This guy is Bhutanese. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but like, I guess he got like some kind of spray tan or whatever because he's doing some kind of stupid movie shoot or whatever. Roy posts on his story and says, because his skin is like 10 shades darker or something, he said, "Can I say the N-word now?" with a ninja emoji next to it. I slid up so fucking quick and I asked this man, are you fucking serious right now? And guess what? That man left me on red. Need I say again that he is not black? He is Bhutanese from Bhutan or whatever the fuck you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Quite honestly, like, the Asian community is literally so underhandedly racist to the black community, and it just, like, not to mention the black community is one of the most supportive of marginalized groups that has ever, like, uplifted the Asian community and actually put effort into supporting us. I'm probably gonna piss a lot of Asians off for saying that, but it's literally the truth, and I fucking see it for what it is.
This and tell us what they be telling y'all at home that make y'all not like us so bad.
So you already know a lot of what my content covers, like racial triangulation, the model minority myth, Asian businesses in black neighborhoods, affirmative action, and so on. As for what I was told in the home behind closed doors when I was growing up, that's not the most fun trip down memory lane, but I always like to be honest about acknowledging anti-blackness among Asian Americans, especially when the call was coming from my own house, so here we go. I first became aware of my mom's anti-blackness when I started kindergarten, and it mostly centered around avoiding interactions with black people and not allowing me to be exposed to anything that she considered black culture. So if we were walking and she saw a black person, she would pull me closer to her. If we were in the car in a parking lot and saw a black person in the parking lot, she would make a point to lock the doors, and I wasn't allowed to listen to rap or Michael Jackson or Tina Turner. And she was hypocritical about that, because I wasn't allowed to listen to Cyndi Lauper or Madonna either. She would call it trash music and say that it was going to be a bad influence. But if it was a white artist, it was not racialized. It was only when it was black artists that it was racialized. And another thing that I think is kind of typical is, as a musician, there were a lot of black artists whom she respected and enjoyed, but she would always say that one black artist is the exception, the rest are bad influences. When I went to school, if I came home and said I made a friend, her first question would be white or black. And that drove me nuts, because in preschool, I dealt with a lot of bullying and discrimination because of being Asian, so it didn't make sense to me that she wanted me to turn around and do that very same thing to my black classmates, whom she knew nothing about, on the basis of their skin color. And when I wouldn't stay away from my black friends, she would resort to making up justifications as to why it was harmful for me. She would say they're going to hurt me and they're going to be a bad influence because they fight and they swear and they're not good students. And of course, none of that was true. And in my household, it was not physically or emotionally safe to voice your opinions, but about that I would, because it literally angered me. And then she would resort to physical violence. And that sealed the deal in my mind that prejudice is purely irrational, because none of her claims had any basis in reality, and that's why she had to resort to physical force. Unfortunately, I think that when parents resort to intimidation and violence to instill prejudice in their children, a lot of times it works. But I was very lucky because the principal of my elementary school was a Black woman who implemented a program called Students Educating Each Other About Discrimination. And that wasn't centered on racial discrimination, it was about discrimination in general. But in that program, we learned to have discussions about discrimination and to identify it and disrupt it. Which at that age just means if you witness discrimination, say it's discrimination and articulate how you know that it's discrimination. So from learning that very powerful tool at school, I was able to identify that what my mom was doing at home was wrong. Additionally, the principal was a Black woman, so I had a Black woman in a position of leadership as a role model. And in my school district, she wasn't a token. They really valued Black leadership from teachers to administration, guidance counselors, all the way up to superintendents. And so I was surrounded by Black role models who made me see that reality did not line up with what my mom was trying to teach me. The straw that broke the camel's back was sometime around the ages of between 7 and 9, I was planning a birthday party and I told my mom that I want to invite my friend Keisha, which I knew was going to be an issue, but I thought I would try. And she said no, and I said, fine, then I don't want to have a birthday party, and she made me have the birthday party. So now that felt like that's not only cruel to me, but that's cruel to my friend Keisha, whom you don't even know because you refused to meet her. Shortly after that, we were walking in the mall, and my mom did this thing that she often did, which is she sees Black people minding their own business, and under her breath, she mumbles a derogatory term in Chinese for Black people. And I remember I pulled back on her hand and faced her, and I said, they are not doing anything. You don't know them. The next time you do that, I am going to go up to them, and I'm going to tell them what you said. And believe it or not, the fear of exposure by me actually made her tone it down, and she stopped doing that in public. Fortunately, my mom did not live and die that way. In later years, she came around to seeing and later openly admitting how wrong she was. In her older age, one of her best friends really was Black, and my mom admitted to her friend what her previous attitudes had been and why. And from those conversations, I was able to gain some insight as to what my mom's motivation was for her anti-Blackness. Because I think most people feel, since Asian Americans also are harmed by white supremacy, how does it make any sense for Asian Americans to be anti-Black? My mom spent most of her young life in Hong Kong when it was under British occupation, and then in the 1950s, she came to the United States when she was 16 years old. Generations before my mom, her family had been living in and doing business around Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Macau, which were French, British, and Portuguese occupied areas. So she was heavily indoctrinated into anti-Blackness in Hong Kong, where she had no exposure to Black people that would have shown her a different reality. And furthermore, what she was indoctrinated into is the idea that an Asian can elevate their status in white spaces by aligning with white supremacy, which includes aligning with anti-Blackness. So I think what my mom was doing with me is that from a young age, she saw that I was having a hard time as an Asian American assimilating. So she felt that if I associated with Black classmates, that would make assimilating into white spaces even harder. And she was concerned that associating with Black classmates would negatively impact my status in white spaces. Well, we all know with me that the outcome was I understand very clearly what spaces I want to be part of and what spaces I don't. So my mom was really proud that she was westernized. She was proud that she spoke English without an accent, that she was very well versed in European culture, and she actually looked down upon my dad for being what she called traditional and therefore backwards. Right, so where was my dad in all of this? My dad grew up in Taiwan, where he had no exposure to Black people, but he also had very little exposure to Western media. I think when he came to the United States, he was a bit uncertain around Black people because of the lack of familiarity and the slight media bias, but it only took a very little being around Black people to see that prejudice is irrational and that it serves a white supremacist agenda that he doesn't want to uphold. As I said before, in my household, it wasn't physically or emotionally safe to voice opinions that differed from my mom, so I do understand why my dad didn't speak up when my mom was being anti-Black. He had a hard enough time keeping my brother and I safe. However, what he would do is, when it was just my dad and I, he would make sure to teach me or give me resources about accurate Black history. So, for example, a lot of my mom's rhetoric surrounded musicians. So my dad would teach me about Berry Gordy, Chuck Berry, Marian Anderson, Jesse Norman. If the claim was that Black people don't value education, he would tell me about Black scholars, academics, and scientists, and so on. So that, in a nutshell, is what I was told at home behind closed doors when I was growing up.
I love the fact that they know very well that their own community do not like Black people, and she is openly stating it. Look, it's not a fluke for someone to come and say, I know my people do not like Black people. I know that this is what is happening. I know that they racially profile these people, and these people we are supposed to learn about Black culture. That's actually what is happening in the Asian community. Look, I think things could have easily been cool. Things could have easily been better if Asians decided to really learn about Black culture and Black history. Because we as Black Americans actually, let me not use me, but our ancestors fought for the benefits they are having today, the benefits they're having to be in the country. So it doesn't really make sense, or even it doesn't even, sometimes I try to process it, it doesn't make sense with the idea that they think that they are superior to us despite the fact that we fought for them. It just does not make sense to me. But let's watch more clips.
I feel like I look Cambodian. My tan skin.
Black men have, are known to have larger, so therefore the women have
That makes sense.
bigger holes.
V and J-Hope, couldn't see them because they were too black. When the nights get dark, I couldn't find them.
Girl, you need some lotion on that dry, on your dry legs.
To the people saying it's not that deep, it has always been that deep. Because this isn't new, something that's been passed down for generations. Now it's affecting the younger generation too. Let's talk about colorism and anti-blackness in Asian communities, how it impacts Asian and Black communities, and even the solidarity between us. Because if we don't address it, we can't grow or do better together. This didn't come out of nowhere. It's been reinforced over time and now shows up in beauty standards and social media. Today, we still see it everywhere. There are Asian influencers getting called out for saying the N-word, making microaggressions without even realizing it, engaging with Black culture but not always respecting Black people. That creates a divide, especially between Black and Asian communities. And the microaggressions people don't even realize. Once it leaves your mouth, it still has an impact. You might not mean harm, but it still hurts people. And when people say it's not that deep, it is. Especially for the younger generation. When people say things like, I'm too tan, or I'm too dark, as an insult, or associate Black features, styles, or aesthetics with something negative, that's where the problem is. It shapes how they see themselves, creates insecurity, and it teaches them to question their own beauty without even realizing it. So when Asians participate in that, it doesn't just harm our own communities, it harms Black communities too. And over time, that's why some people in the Black communities may feel wary or hesitant towards Asian communities. And we also need to talk about this. There are times when Asians engage with Black culture ways that crosses boundaries, using Black sense, using AAVE, portraying harmful and inaccurate stereotypes about Black people. And there's a double standard. When non-Black people take on those same features, seen as trendy or beautiful. When Black people exist in their own culture, they're often judged, stereotyped, not given the same respect. That imbalance is why there's hesitation, distance between communities. But it also starts at home. Being told things like, don't stay in the sun too long or you'll get dark. Even, you'll look Filipino or you'll look Cambodian. That teaches kids earlier on that darker equals less desirable. When you grow up hearing these things, you start repeating them without even realizing it. That's how microaggressions happen. How colorism keeps repeating itself. And this also affects Blasian individuals. I don't want to speak over their experiences. I do want to acknowledge and amplify it. Because in many Asian spaces, it can be treated as too dark or not fully accepted. And because of that, some of them may feel pressured to choose a side or fit into one identity more than the other. We've seen this happen with people like Naomi Osaka, where people question her identity instead of allowing her to exist as both. In many cases, we're not given the same opportunities or representation in Asian spaces either. This is why colorism runs so deep, divides East Asians and Southeast Asians, even within Southeast Asian communities. It even affects how, to the point where some people don't even acknowledge them as Asians because of their skin tone. And it all ties back into anti-blackness. We can't keep picking and choosing to appreciate black culture, disrespect black people. We should be uplifting each other, not putting each other down. All of us, East Asian, Central Asian, West Asian, Southeast Asian, South Asian, mixed, Blasian, we're all beautiful. And the black community is beautiful too, not just in culture, but in people too. Deserves respect, always. I don't want the next generation to question their beauty or comparing their skin just to feel worthy. We deserve better, they will too.
You want to blame everybody else. You see this whole Cyrus case and Mr. Chow? None of this would have happened if you motherfuckers raised your fucking kids right. That fucking little boy witnessed some of his business.
I am a college-educated woman. I hold a master's degree in information technology management. My son was not a thug. He was a 14-year-old boy who was trying to find his way. And for any person that acts like when they were 14, 15, 16, 17, that they did not do nothing wrong, that they did not smoke and drink and do and have sex and do whatever that they were not supposed to do by their parents, it is a lie. And it is judgmental, and I refuse to allow any of you to sit up there and make it seem like we were bad parents because we were not. My son loved everybody. He would tell me like, oh, Mom, you're being judgmental. You shouldn't do that. That's against God. And the devil shot him dead, and he laid right there. And we got no justice from South Carolina.
So this man is on a train in New York, where I'm from, minding his business, and this Asian lady is just cussing him out like a dog in the street. She talked about the Constitution. She told him he betrayed the country. And you know what? This is a clear depiction of how Black Americans feel right now with everything that's going on. People from every single nation is blaming us for things that we have no control over. We've been getting attacked left and right for things that have nothing to do with us. People from other countries have been joining our panel saying that we're destabilizing their countries and stealing the resources. And we all been looking around like, what the fuck? We American, but we're Black Americans. We are not doing anything to you. We don't have the power to deport you. So for y'all to keep screaming and yelling and shouting out to us from the rooftops, this video, I was like, oh my God, that's literally what we've been experiencing the last few months. Everybody and their mother coming for Black people, and we just like, what the fuck did we do? Cause what did we do? How we got in it? How did we get in it? Child, what y'all think about this? Red Love is the Brooklyn. This video summed up our experience lately so perfectly.
I did see and watch that Korean American girl's video where she said that if you're a foreigner in Korea and you are not white, Korean people don't think you're pretty and don't consider you pretty because of toxic Korean beauty standards. She did get a lot of heat for that. Well deserved. And she did follow up with an apology video that I did watch where she did own up and apologize for her use of words, her tone, and being outdated and wrong on the whole thing. Here's the thing. Korean people don't give a shit what your race, ethnicity is. If you are pretty, you are pretty. They will tell you you're pretty. Korean people have no fucking problem telling people that they're pretty. They will tell you, and they will mean it. Okay? And I'm not saying that, you know, her statement can't be true. There are Korean people out there who are incredibly racist, who are incredibly closed-minded, and who are incredibly ignorant, as do all other countries. It's not just Korea. Listen, I just think it's kind of crazy to be posting something like that with the verbiage being used in there, that if you are not white, it is not right. That is basically what I heard out of that entire video. I also feel like Korean people don't apply the toxic Korean beauty standards.
Someone's Korean grandma just called me the N-word today on my way home from work. Somebody come get y'all grandma. For real. It's a long day being Black, man.
bad. And before all of y'all Korean apologists come attacking me, you keyboard warriors, I know exactly what the difference is between nigga and nigga. I know what that means, and that's not what she was saying. I'm walking home from work, y'all. This lady screamed in the middle of the street, "Wow, kamdengi!" I guess because she'd never seen a black person before. Kamdengi is a freaking slur. It literally means ash, soot, the black ash after when you burn something. That's what kamdengi means, right? So it's like a person who's covered in ash is how they used to refer to black people back in the day. And this has been deemed obviously insensitive, something that you should not say in polite society. When you are watching like an American film or a film that uses the N-word with a hard R, the direct translation is similar to what kamdengi is, which is komdungi, okay? Komdungi like is what they use in films in subtitle translations to explain the N-word with the hard R, okay? There's no exact perfect equivalent of the N-word in Korean, but there are derogatory terms directed towards black people that have been deemed slurs. The word for black people in Korean is huk-in, right? She didn't say huk-in. She didn't say 외국인, foreigner. She didn't say any of those words. Like, she talking about me? I'm looking around like, I know damn well I'm the only freaking black person around, but I'm looking around like, no way, it's me. This old lady don't call me kamdengi, y'all. I'm just trying to get home. Lady that said, wow, kamdengi. She's talking to her like friend. So she's saying, wow, like it's a black person. It's a little Negro, right? And then the old friend, this is how I know that she has to know that that's not an appropriate word to use, because her friend looked uncomfortable. Her friend was just like, oh, like that. And then, but the lady was like, kamdengi, kamdengi. And then she was trying to tell me that she thought I was pretty. So she looked at the friend and was like, kamdengi yapu, like yapuyo, like the kamdengi is pretty or something like that. I'm like, we're like walking like this. She stops me and she says, oh, nomu yapuyo, like that. Like, I was like, oh, thank you, 감사합니다. I just said like, thank you, like uncomfortably. But my fiance was like, why the hell didn't you just say like, I don't speak Korean or something like that? Like, why would I affirm kamdengi? Like, why would I be like, yes, the Negro is pretty. Like yes, thank you, the Negro is pretty. Like, what the hell was I thinking? But anyway, yes. So, that was my day. Today is Tuesday. That was my day. How was your day?
You called me a nigger. Do not call me a nigger. We don't fucking care who you are. No, I am a Nigerian American. Do not call me a nigger.
Le racisme anti-noir n'a pas de frontières. On vient encore de voir une scène qui rappelle une chose très simple. Le racisme anti-noir n'est pas une exception occidentale. Il voyage, il se répète, il se recycle et parfois il surgit là où certains pensaient qu'il n'existait pas. Dans cette vidéo que l'on vient de voir, on voit une altercation dans un magasin Zara à Tokyo entre une femme japonaise et une américaine d'origine nigériane. D'après ce qui est rapporté, le conflit démarre dans une file d'attente pour une cabine d'essayage. Jusque-là, ça pourrait être une dispute banale, sauf qu'à un moment, ça bascule. Une insulte raciste est lâchée. Et c'est là que tout change. Parce qu'une dispute, ça peut arriver bien sûr. Un désaccord, ça peut arriver aussi. Mais quand, au milieu d'un conflit, la première arme que tu sors, c'est une insulte anti-noire, ça révèle quelque chose. Ça révèle que dans ton propre imaginaire, la couleur noire est déjà placée en bas. Ça révèle que tu n'insultes pas seulement une personne, tu attaques une histoire, une origine, une dignité. Et il faut le dire, je pense très clairement. Non, cela ne veut pas dire que tous les Japonais sont racistes. Ce serait complètement absurde, injuste et dangereux. Mais ça veut dire que le racisme anti-noir n'est pas occidental, il est mondial. Il peut exister en Europe, aux États-Unis, dans le monde arabe, en Asie, en Afrique même parfois, parce qu'il a été construit par des siècles d'images, de hiérarchie, de colonisation, de médias, de cinéma, de musique et de clichés. Le problème, ce n'est pas seulement une insulte. Le problème, c'est le réflexe derrière cette insulte. Parce qu'on peut être énervé sans devenir raciste. On peut être en colère sans déshumaniser. On peut se disputer sans convoquer l'histoire de l'humiliation des Noirs. Et c'est pour ça qu'il faut réagir. Pas pour créer une guerre entre communautés, ça ne sert strictement à rien. Pas pour essentialiser les Japonais non plus. Mais pour rappeler une vérité. Quand une personne noire est insultée parce qu'elle est noire, ce n'est jamais juste un mot. C'est une mémoire violente qui ressurgit dans le présent. Et à tous ceux qui diront derrière, encore une histoire de racisme, vous voyez le mal partout. Non, le mal n'est pas partout. Mais quand il apparaît, il faut arrêter de demander aux victimes de se taire pour préserver le confort de certains. Ce qu'on voit ici, ce n'est pas seulement une altercation dans le magasin Zara. C'est une preuve, de plus encore, que la dignité noire doit être défendue, et cela partout. Même à Tokyo, à l'autre bout du monde, même dans une cabine d'essayage, même dans une simple file d'attente.
Oh, this man is on a train in New York, where I'm from, minding his business, and this Asian lady is just cussing him out like a dog in the street. She talked about the Constitution. She told him he betrayed the country. And you know what? This is a clear depiction of how Black Americans feel right now with everything that's going on. People from every single nation is blaming us for things that we have no control over. We've been getting attacked left and right for things that have nothing to do with us. People from other countries have been joining our panel saying that we're destabilizing their countries and stealing the resources. And we all been looking around like, what the fuck? We American, but we're Black Americans. We are not doing anything to you. We don't have the power to deport you. So for y'all to keep screaming and yelling and shouting out to us from the rooftops, this video, I was like, oh my God, that's literally what we've been experiencing the last few months. Everybody and their mother coming for Black people. And we just like, what the fuck did we do? Cause what did we do? How we got in it? How did we get in it? Child, what y'all think about this? Red Love is the Brooklyn Wing. This video summed up our experience lately so perfectly.
I genuinely think that both races have to come together, learn about each other, especially the Asians, because this is not going to help. The boycott is only getting worse. The racial tensions are only increasing. At the end of the day, both sides are not winning, both sides are not losing. I genuinely think this, what am I even saying? I think Asians are losing far than Blacks because they depend on us for their livelihoods, especially. But I just think this race war should end. I don't want people, I have Asian friends, and I don't like the fact that I have to sit down and explain these things. I know those ones are not the types I'm talking about, but I've also experienced a lot from other Asians who racially profile Black Americans. Thank you for watching this video. If you love content like this, please do subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you in another one, guys. Bye bye.